Well, as long as the roads are doing okay, we'll go ahead and do business as usual here on this Tuesday edition of the KRMG Evening News. I'm Skylar Cooper, joined live by Michael Spurgeon, the city manager in Broken Arrow. This is the BA Breakdown. Good evening, Michael.
Hey, how you doing, Skylar? Let me just mention that was a great point about exit ramps and slowing down as you come off of the higher speed roadways. That's a very good point for a motorist at this time of with the storm we're facing right now.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to be following those road conditions that undoubtedly will probably get a little bit worse later as it gets colder and we start to see that transition to snow. With that in mind, I wanted to ask you about BA's city crews and the response so far. I know it's been a pretty easy one with just mostly rain, but are your guys on standby just in case it gets nasty?
Yes, we're ready to go. Street and Stormwater Director Rocky Hinkle and his team, they're watching the weather very closely. We have all of our folks that are going to be involved in the snow removal operations whenever it starts. I mean, we've got 16 trucks with plows and spreaders. Our street crews are going to be working 12-hour shifts throughout the duration, so we're just waiting for the weather. We'll be using salt where it'll work, and depending on make sure the temperatures stay appropriate for us to use it, and we'll be ready to go once he thinks it's appropriate for the trucks to start to roll.
Are there predetermined routes, or is it just kind of as needed where they start to get the bad reports?
We have predetermined routes. I mean, we look at arterial streets and bridges get the first priority, followed by collector streets and then side streets, and then those streets leading into neighborhoods. We're expanding our program to spend a little bit more focus into the areas where streets that go into the neighborhoods, because sometimes they get really slick. And so we're going to be expanding our program to look at those areas and see if they need some attention this year. But we try to hit the streets, the arterials first, and then the bridges, because that's where we usually find the most problems and we get the most done so folks can get about their business.
Yeah, the opposite of what John Philbeck was talking about downhill, I run into a lot on the overpass on Elm that goes over the BA, kind of have that uphill both ways. And that can be a little tricky when it's icy and snowy.
Yeah, I think the best advice for everyone is to give yourself, and you talk about this all the time, your team does, is give yourself additional time, number one, and just go a little bit slower and take it easy. The streets in Broken Arrow are always cleared in a very timely fashion, but that doesn't mean there might be some slick spots. And so we just always encourage everyone, just take their time, give yourself some more time, and then everything will work out fine.
Well, you mentioned the streets department. I did see that you guys have something coming up about a month, a little less than a month now, in February, the Community Services Expo. Tell us about that. What is that all about?
Well, for years, our Community Development Department hosted what was known as the Homeowners Association, or HOA, workshop, and it was a great event. We had mainly the presidents, vice presidents, or members of the boards of the various homeowners associations with the neighborhoods within our community. And we would have some residents that would come out that were a part of the different neighborhoods. We expanded a couple years informally to add more of the departments. And we decided after this past event last year to actually change the title and to officially expand the services we're going to be presenting. So now it's called the Community Services Expo. It's going to be on February 18th at Stony Creek, and we're going to have 22 breakout sessions with 19 different topics where anybody in the community can come out and learn more about their local government. It's the government that governs closest to the people, and you're going to see all the departments, all of our city council members and administration going to be out there, and all the department directors, and we're going to talk about some of the most pertinent topics that are facing our community today.
Hey, Michael, before we go, I just wanted to give you the opportunity here. I know you can't say much, but we are covering in the news this evening the tragic shooting of that 16-year-old early this morning in Broken Arrow. Always tough in BA when something like that happens in the community because it's so rare out there.
It certainly is. And let me begin by expressing my condolences to the victim's family. 16-year-old, as I understand it, was found unconscious, and it turns out that he passed away or was pronounced dead at the hospital. And it is so infrequently here in our community, and that's the first thing I want to do. I have every confidence in Chief Barry Hill and his detectives that we will basically pursue every lead to determine exactly who was responsible for this. And and then proceed accordingly in terms of trying to bring them to justice. But I just want to send my condolences out to everyone. I can't really talk about it right now, but I did speak to the chief briefly, and they do have some leads which they are following up on. And Ethan Hutchins, our communications PIO, will be putting out more information once we have that available for the public, and we can release it without compromising any aspect of the investigation.
It's 5:12 now. This is the BA Breakdown with Michael Spurgeon, City Manager in Broken Arrow. Before we go, we're just about out of time here, but I want to tease something, a whole week of a tease here, because next week I want to ask you more about the Innovation District that we really went in depth on a month or so ago. It sounds like there's more plans coming together with that, right? We can get into it next week, but it sounds like there's pen hitting paper on that.
Oh, absolutely. The council awarded a design contract to begin the engineering and construction design that's necessary to lay out the park. And I can't wait to talk more about this whenever you're ready, because this was a big piece of the proverbial puzzle for the innovation. We start laying out streets and roads, stormwater, sanitary sewer. I can't wait to talk to you about it. But the first step was a significant contract we awarded last week. The city council did. So let's get into it whenever you're ready. I'm ready to talk about some great things regarding economic development.
Sounds good. Let's do that next week. For now, we are out of time and we got to check the forecast again. So Michael, we'll let you go. Have a great week.
Be safe, my friend. Bye-bye.
Ever wonder